Here are some bands and artists who really dislike their own songs, going as far to say they hate them or refuse to play them anymore. Whether this be because they didn't think the song was artistically integral, perhaps they didn't think it was up to standard, or they've just played it so many darn times and heard it so many darn times that it's literally driving them insane. Guys, if you enjoy my music news, reviews, and general music chit-chats, then please do hit the subscribe button. It is the most helpful thing you can do for the channel. Now, this first one is not going to surprise you whatsoever, but Nirvana, most notably Kurt Cobain, really did not like Smells Like Teen Spirit, partially because he had to play it so many times that he was overhearing it. I get it. I was born in 1991. I have heard this song at every cover band, every school disco, every party, every radio station, every music channel on the TV. You can't really escape this song, but he has alluded to the fact that if other songs had made it as big, he would probably dislike them, so it's nothing to do with the song itself. But sometimes this happens where a band gets lumped in with just one of their songs when they have a massive catalogue. Nirvana have Lithium, In Bloom, Aneurysm, that's one of my favourite ones, Lounge Act, Come As You Are, Breed. They have so many different songs, and some of those songs are actually quite diverse. To just associate this band with that one song is a real downer. He added at one point, "I literally want to throw my guitar down and walk away. I can't pretend to have a good time playing it." Coming up next, we have got Gene Simmons from legendary rock band Kiss, arguably one of the most legendary live acts of all time, still crushing it on their farewell tour, selling out stadiums globally, and it goes to show that some of their songs have aged extremely well. This band have a back catalogue so large that fortunately they've never been lumped into one particular song. Everyone has their preference. I, for example, like the 1984 sort of Animalize era. I really love the 80s version of Kiss. I also like the early 90s Revenge album, that's really good, but I would say that my favorite album of all time would be Love Gun from them. There is no one definitive hit which really defines Kiss as a band, but the one thing that Gene Simmons really dislikes playing is I Was Made for Loving You. You can hear it from the horse's mouth, or should I say the demon's mouth, right here.
There's something I want to do. Yeah, I know what that something is. Wow, that's a cool song. Okay, what's my part? Do, 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 do. You're killing me. Do, do. I'm gonna sing like my grandmother. Do. I hate playing that song today. Kill me now.
Next up, we have got the forefathers of pop punk, my favorite band of all time, and it is not one particular member that dislikes this song. It is actually all three who have commented on it at certain points. But that song is, of course, All the Small Things, by far their most popular song and most highly streamed song, even though songs like Rock Show, What's My Age Again, Feeling This, and even some of the newer stuff like Generational Divide, Pin the Grenade, Dark Side, they're all bangers as well, but it is definitely absolutely clear that All the Small Things is their biggest hit. Why do they dislike it? Well, Travis Barker, it was reported a few years ago that he really was nearly driven crazy by the band's track All the Small Things. He said to NME, there was a point where Mark Hoppus, Tom and I were like, we can't play All the Small Things one more time. We were going to go crazy, but it would be like going to see Jay-Z and he doesn't play 99 Problems. For your fans, it's their favorite song. Well, you know what? I disagree with that part. It's actually my least favorite Blink-182 song. And they're waiting all night to finally hear it. Well, I think that's true, but when you go to a Blink-182 concert, I really don't actually think that people are pining to hear that song. I personally would prefer if they played more songs from the Dude Ranch era, and I'm sure many of their fans would. We all go crazy when they bang out the old songs like Damn It, Josie, and some less conventional live ones, such as Anthem, which has only been played live a couple of times, Online Songs, which has never been played live, and Reckless Abandon. Those are all big bangers. So Mark Hoppus has actually commented on this song a few years ago as well. I can't find the exact interview, but I remember him saying that he just finds it boring to play. And I'm sure Travis agrees with this as well, because they're both talented musicians, but Mark does not sing on this song. He barely does any backup vocals. The bass line is very simple, and it's not upbeat enough to justify him jumping around and going nuts and having fun on stage. So it's just a very simple sort of 3-chord song, and he's playing a very, very simple bass line. He doesn't necessarily hate the song or think it's a bad song, it's just the most boring one, the least enjoyable one to play live. Alright, now we're gonna take it back over 50 years with Pete Townshend and the Who's Pinball Wizard, who you might know as being one of their biggest live hits, but you might also know it as being covered by Elton John for the 1975 film Tommy. And if you've heard that album or seen the film, you'll know it's actually quite a slow, drony, depressing album. It's got a lot of negative songs in there, also some hilarious ones such as Fiddle About, but definitely a few songs in there which are just a bit slow, tedious, bit dark, dealing with some serious issues that come along in Tommy's life. The story behind Pinball Wizard was quite interesting. See, Pete actually wanted to write it so that he could impress his friend Nick Kahn, quite a critical person. I think he was also a music critic. When Nick came to hear the Tommy recordings, he liked them, but he didn't think there was a hit in there. There wasn't one which could be like, ah, yes, this is the lead single from this album. Pete, obviously wanting to impress him, actually wrote this song specifically to get a good review and get good feedback. One thing that Pete and Nick had in common is they both loved playing pinball, so he felt if he wrote a song about pinball, then his friend Nick would really appreciate it. The thing was, he then had to change a bunch of the lyrics to make it appropriate for the character of Tommy. Why is this deaf, dumb, and blind kid playing pinball? He later described it in 1996 as the most clumsy piece of writing I've ever done. This sounds like a music hall song. That hasn't prevented him, though, from playing it live quite a lot, even during his own solo gigs away from The Who. Final artist, we have got the man Slash. He was not a big fan of Sweet Child of Mine, despite the fact that it is clearly their biggest hit, but he described it as, you know, Guns N' Roses was always a real hardcore, sort of AC/DC kind of hard rock band with a lot of attitude. If we did any ballads, it was bluesy. This was an up-tempo ballad. That's one of the gayest things you can write. Strange way of putting it. But at the same time, it's a great song. I'm not knocking it. But at the same time, it just did not fit in with the rest of our sort of shtick. And of course, it would be the biggest hit we ever had. So he didn't dislike the riff. He just didn't felt like it fit in with their hardcore sound, or their slightly heavier hard rock sound. He added, so it's grown on me over the years, but that's a riff I never knew was going to take off the way it did. Guys, I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please smash the like button, leave a comment, or hit the subscribe button to help the channel out. I really appreciate it, and lots of love. I'll see you in the next video.